In the Baroque era, it was common practice for a keyboardist to accompany instrumental music with what is known as a basso continuo. This part consisted only of a bass line accompanied by small numbers, known as figured bass. These numbers formed a shorthand telling the performer which notes to play above the bass. It was then up to the performer to decide how many of each note to play and how exactly to play them. In figured bass notation, the numbers refer to diatonic intervals above the bass note. A 6/3, for example, denotes the intervals of a diatonic sixth and a diatonic third above the bass. Here's an example of a complete phrase with one of many possible realizations. Chromatic notes, which are not contained in the key signature, are indicated using a number and an accidental. In general, figured bass should always be read with respect to the governing key signature. In this example, a diatonic fourth above C is F natural. If we want the performer to play an F sharp, however, we need to add an accidental to our figure. It can be quite cumbersome to write a complete figured bass for every single chord, so composers developed a shorthand notation for common chords, namely triads and seventh chords. Here are the complete figures for triads and seventh chords in various positions, and here are the shorthand figures. Modern-day Roman numeral analysis combines the separate traditions of Roman numeral notation and figured bass. Analyzing a chord thus involves two main steps. First, determining the root of the chord in question, and second, determining the intervals above the bass. In the following example in F major, we can find the root by stacking the chord in thirds like a snowman. The answer, B flat, yields the following Roman numeral, 4. Now look at the original chord, and we can calculate the intervals above the bass and write them in descending order from top to bottom next to the Roman numeral. Note that even though F appears twice in the chord, it's only accounted for once in the figured bass. We can now use shorthand figured bass notation to simplify our answer. Here's an example of a complete phrase with a modern-day analysis that combines Roman numeral notation with shorthand figured bass.